I'm up here. Now I expect you, hope you will pay attention. I don't know how much attention I warrant, but I'll try to do my best. I'll go back many years. My father was a chef in the Gentlemen's Club in London, England. And he was married to a little orphan British girl. I got competition here.
Maybe this one. Okay.
Thank you. My father, as I said, was a chef in the Gentlemen's Club. When he met my mother, a little orphan English maiden, and then they heard or saw a lot about a new land, a new colony on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. And they decided they wanted to go there. And they did. Well, Dad, being a chef, had no trouble finding employment on the railway passenger trains that ran between Montreal and Vancouver. But he had to leave his little wife behind and with their daughter. So he decided he needed to have a job where he would be home all the time. When a job opening came about for somebody to run an engine by a lake that pumped the water from the lake up to the tank, big tank beside the railway track. The trains would stop there and the firemen would get out and pull the big pipe down and fill the tank with water. And then he had to jump down and keep the place near the tank with where a fire was. He had to keep that fire going full blast in order to keep that water boiling and create the steam from it that the engine was able to run on, that pulled the trains back and forth along the railway. This was a CNR. And there were different kinds of trains that ran up and down those tracks at that time. There were the passenger trains that carried the people that wanted to go from one place to another, mostly to Winnipeg. Then there was a local train, and that was a combination of boxcars and a passenger coach. And it just ran between certain divisional points, like Sulicout and Reddit. They took the express and the mail back and forth. Well, as I said, my dad and then my mother, they decided they wanted to stay in one spot, so they went to this little community in Northwestern Ontario called McIntosh. There were high hills of rocks and trees and a beautiful lake. And Dad ran the engine that pumped the water from the lake up to the tank. Well, I always went with him and watched what he did and how he ran that engine. Well, when I was about 10 years old, I could run that engine. In fact, I did one year when he wasn't able to do it one day. All you had to do was pour some gasoline down a pipe and put a wood match on the end of a little pipe, and it had a screw on it. You put it down, the gasoline down this pipe, and screw this other thing down there, and then he hit at the top like that, and it started the motor going. But he ran around and turned the big flywheel in order to do that. So it ran until he watched there was a big gauge on the side of the tank, and you watch that gauge, and when it got near the top, you would have to go down and shut the motor off. Well, you think of the use of water and steam. That's the word I was trying to get. The steam, the power that steam has behind it. Used to run those locomotives across the land, ran that big engine there, and it went on forever. Steam is an amazing power. But my mom wasn't satisfied with just living there. She put in for the post office, and she was granted the post office. And then she decided, well, people had to come and get their mail, so we should have a store. There was another store, a trader. He traded furs and blueberries in the summertime. So she opened up there, or they opened up a little store beside the house. Put shelves in it and stocked it with all sorts of canned goods and packaged things. But most of their customers were native people in the area. But there was one thing that you could not sell, or should not sell, native people, and that was vanilla extract. Because I guess they used to drink it and thought there was some alcohol in it. However, as time went on, the mother and dad had 4 children. I was the oldest. Next to me was my twin brother and sister, and then the youngest. And I think that is a signal for me to
No, that's just
shut him out.
No, that's just 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. I still got 5 minutes. Okay. Well, we as kids used to love to play down by the lake. There was a beautiful big lake in front of our home, or a little distance down the track. We'd go down there and fish for minnows. And now to get those, we'd take a limb of a tree, put a string on it, and a bent pin on the end with a piece of bacon on it. And we'd sit there and see the minnows swimming around amongst the rocks, and they would bite, and we'd pull them in and put them in a pail. And then they started to float around. We couldn't figure out how come they died. But I guess it was the lack of oxygen. But then we had a great big old flat bottom wooden boat that leaked like a sieve. But we used it, the kids, the 4 of us used to take it out in the middle of the lake to fish. And as I was the oldest and the strongest, I got to row the thing. The twins are next to me too. They used to do troll fishing. And the youngest used to bail water out with a tin can. But that's mostly how we spent our time as children. But eventually, you grow older. There was no school for me there, or my brother and sister. So I had to go to Abenaki for a year to live with people there and walk through the bush at grade 1. And then a relative was in Winnipeg, and they sent me to live with her for a year of schooling. And I met a young girl there. We became good friends. And she invited me to come and live with them to attend school. And this is what I did. I went as far as grade 5. So I am the well-educated grade 5 student that will leave you now. Madam Chairman. addressed you properly, did I?
No.
Oh, Toastmasters.
Thanks, Pat, because now I feel not so alone.